Hello and welcome to Tech Deals, game performance review time, Battlefield 1. We're playing Battlefield 1 today on the Acer Aspire E15 15.6-inch laptop computer. I have previously reviewed this computer. A link to that review will be in the video description below. Please go check it out. It is a great machine. In addition to the main system review, there is also how-to guides below on how to upgrade the RAM, how to install a hard drive, Windows performance reviews, and other game performance reviews. Again, go check those out. So what is in the hardware in this computer as it's tested today? Intel's i5-6200u processor. What is that? 2 cores, 4 threads, up to 2.8 gigahertz. It is a 6th generation Intel Skylake processor. It's a very good chip at this price point. There is 16 gigabytes of main system RAM installed. Now this machine comes with 8 by default, but I have upgraded it to 16 as shown in the video below. Graphics: NVIDIA's GT 940MX dedicated gaming graphics card with 2 gigabytes of VRAM. It is an entry-level gaming graphics card, but it is better than the integrated graphics on the Intel chip, which is why you're able to see the performance level that you're going to see in this video. We are playing today at 1080p or full HD. I'm going to be showing you 2 different maps. One filmed at 100% and one filmed at 50% render resolution. What is that? Many new games today have the ability to change the internal render resolution of the game while still running at the full resolution of your screen. So both videos that you're going to watch were recorded at 1080p. However, the second one had the internal rendering resolution reduced, and you will see improved game performance because of this. Fraps was used for the minimum, maximum, and average game performance numbers that you will see at the end of this video. The HD60 Pro was used for video capture. This is a hardware capture card that was installed in a separate desktop computer. The output from the laptop was routed to it, so there is no performance impact on this game because I recorded the video, since it was not done on the Acer Aspire laptop. The numbers in red at the top left of the screen are from MSI Afterburner. Briefly, the very first line is the graphics chip itself, the 940MX. The first percentage is how much of the graphics chip is currently being used. As you can see, we're basically at 100% usage. The graphics chip is fully occupied. The next line is the temperature of the chip, which is 73 degrees Celsius, and then the clock rate of the chip. The next line, MEM, is the memory on the graphics chip, not your main system RAM. We have 2 gigabytes of VRAM in this system, and as you can see, we're using about 1.6 gigabytes of it. The CPU itself, now in this video I had them backwards, my apologies. The temperature should be second, but it's first in this case. 82 degrees temperature Celsius centigrade, and then 92, 83, 87, it bounces around, percentage CPU used. Please note this is very important. In systems with hyperthreading, which this system has, we have 2 real cores and then 2 hyperthreads. It presents 4 cores to the system, but it doesn't really have 4 cores. It has 4 schedulers, but only 2 real processing cores. It can only do 2 things at once. When the CPU reports as 50% busy on a CPU such as this, it's actually 100% busy. When it shows itself as being 74% busy right now, that means it's well deep into the hyperthreads. Battlefield 1 really wants a true quad-core chip, a true 4-core processor. A desktop i5 has 4 true cores. Most, not all, but most laptop i5 chips are actually 2-core and 2 hyperthreads, meaning they're not real 4-core chips. So this would perform better on a laptop with 4 true cores as opposed to the 2 real cores and 2 fake cores. Okay, enough of that. System RAM, take a look at that. We are solidly at 8 gigabytes of RAM, the 4th line RAM. Now you may think, well great, if it's at 8 gigs of RAM, that must mean that I can just use the laptop as it comes with 8 gigs of RAM and I'm fine. No, Windows must reserve some main system RAM for its internal features and functions. You never want to actually be using all your RAM, and in fact you can't. We'd be well into the swap file if I didn't actually have 16 gigs of RAM installed. It's less than $40 to upgrade to 16 gigabytes, and in 2016, if you want to play games like this, absolutely positively upgrade to 16 gigabytes. There's no doubt in my mind that is a very smart choice. Now, if you don't want to play games like this, you don't have to. 8 gigs works, but not for games like Battlefield 1. You really should have 16 gigs. The last line is the real-time frame rate of the game. We're running in DirectX 11, and you can see we're currently running at about 40 frames per second. This video that you're watching is at 100% render resolution. I'm mostly using this clip to simply introduce the video and give you something to watch while I'm talking. The real one I want to show you is the one I filmed at 50% render resolution, and that's the numbers I'm going to show you at the end. That's how I think you should play this game on this laptop, and it's a much better experience. Having played 2 full multiplayer matches between 100% and 50%, I would never play the 100% on this laptop. The performance just isn't there. So let me fade this desert battle out and show you what the 50% resolution video looks like. And here we are in our second battle. Different map, different battle. For what it is worth, I did play the entire desert map at 100% render resolution, so it does play, it does work. I just think that in a first-person shooter such as Battlefield 1, having a low frame rate impairs your ability to be competitive and to really play an online multiplayer game such as this. The graphic quality at 50% resolution is not as good as it is at 100%, but it is much, much smoother. How much smoother? Take a look at the upper left-hand corner. We're currently at 50 frames a second. There was no point during the busy action of the first game that it was at 50 frames a second. Now, ideally, we'd like it to always be over 60 frames a second or more, but again, this is a $550 budget laptop. You simply aren't going to get that in a brand new game such as Battlefield 1 at that price point. However, if you have a $550 budget and you want to be able to play Battlefield 1, yes, you can. But I highly recommend you buy this laptop rather than some others I've looked at in the past or many others on the market that use integrated graphics. You will not get this level of performance on integrated graphics. It simply isn't there. The GeForce GT 940MX may be an entry-level graphics card, but it is in fact a dedicated gaming graphics card with 2 gigabytes of VRAM. If you look at the VRAM use, we're currently at 1.5 gigabytes. Our clock speed of our CPU and our GPU are both fully used. In fact, if you look, you'll see the CPU is at 100% right along with the graphics chip. This game would perform better on a true quad-core chip. I mentioned this in the first part of this video. If you want to know, okay, what should I buy? If this performance doesn't excite you, if you look at this and go, yeah, okay, what would I get for better performance? I've previously reviewed on my channel a Dell laptop, 15.6-inch Dell laptop for $800. It varies in price. I've seen it for $780 lately, but about $800. It has a higher level graphics chip and a higher level CPU. Take a look at that. I'll link to it in the video description below, but in short, it has a true quad-core processor. It has the i5-6300HQ. Laptop chips have to have HQ in their CPU name from Intel to indicate they're actually a 4-core chip. If they have a U at the end of the name, they're really dual-core. Even the i7s, the i7 chips with U at the end are dual-core chips. So that one also has a GTX 960M graphics card, which is double the performance of the 940MX. $250 more, doubles your CPU power, doubles your graphics power, still has the 256 gig solid state drive, still has the 15.6-inch Full HD 1080p screen, but better, it has an IPS screen. It's a better quality screen, but not everybody has $800 to spend on a laptop. I understand that. That is why I'm doing this video, to show you that if you simply only have the budget for a $550 laptop, by all means, this will play. We're currently at 58 frames per second. 60 frames a second, we just touched it. Is this going to average 60? No. In fact, the minimum dips down into the 30s. I'll show you the full numbers at the end of this video. Oh, there we go. Good ambush. It's not ideal, but it works, it's playable, and this was much more responsive in terms of mouse response and keyboard response to the first game. So I highly recommend you set the render resolution, or render scale, Battlefield 1 calls it, to 50% on this laptop. I'm now going to turn the volume of the game up and give you a couple minutes of game footage uninterrupted by my talking so that you can focus on the smoothness and action of the gameplay while making note of the real-time frame rate in the upper left-hand corner. I won't put the whole battle in, it would be too long, but I'll give you a couple minutes of uninterrupted gameplay so that you can see the actual performance of the game at 50% render resolution, and then I will show you the actual numbers from Fraps at the end of this video and give you the conclusion.
We have lost objective apples.
Ich werfe eine Granate. Aufpassen, Granate raus! Ihre Befehle bitte!
Well, here we are at the end of our video. How are those results? Average of 51 frames per second, minimum of 32, and a max of 74. Very playable, if perhaps not ideal performance. Ideally, I'd like to see the minimum at 60 frames per second, but that's simply not going to happen on a GT 940MX. That being said, this is much better performance than integrated graphics. If you've only got about $500 to $550 to spend on a laptop and you want to play games like Battlefield 1, yes you can. Keep in mind that the game is really rendering at 720p internally. You may ask, well, can I just set the resolution to 720p? Yes you can, and you'll get very similar performance. I didn't video it, but I did try it. One of the nice things about the render resolution option is you aren't stuck at 50% or 100%. By all means, play around with it. Maybe you'll be happy at 70 or 75%. You don't have to pick just between those two numbers. That being said, if you've got some extra money, and I realize not everybody does, but as I mentioned earlier in this video, if you've got $800, the Dell laptop I previously reviewed, which will be linked in the video description below, please go check that out. Double the graphics performance, double the CPU performance, that will be well over 60 frames a second average, and the minimum will be really, really close to 60 frames a second, if not quite there. Very good machine, but of course it does cost more. So if you don't have the budget for that, or maybe you already own this, well, yes, you can play Battlefield 1 on an NVIDIA GT 940MX on a dual-core i5 laptop. Like this video if you like it. Don't if you don't. Remember to subscribe to my channel using the big, huge red subscribe button right down there. Leave your questions and comments below the video, and as always, check out the video description, link to this laptop on Amazon and Newegg, link to the Dell laptop that I mentioned several times in this video to Amazon and Newegg, links to my original review of this laptop, link to the review of the Dell laptop. If you like this video, go down there and use those links to Amazon and Newegg. Great deals at both places, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.